Hi, I'm Lisa Marchese. I'm an Italian designer from Milano, and I graduated in industrial design in the Politecnico of Milano with a specialization in lighting design. And I have been working for about 20 years because I started studied the light when I was in the school and then in the university. And during the university, I have the opportunity to start to work with Barbara Baristreri. And I start until last July when unfortunately and suddenly she passed away. And in order to continue and don't waste all the works that we have started together, me and my colleague Christian Miola decided to continue, and we have founded our office. It's called MLD Lab, and the name is particular because we have had this lab because for us it's very important, is the goal of our office, because we have a laboratory in our office, and so we have decided to add this important element because for us it's very, very important to test the light. We was the last student of the course in lighting design in the Politecnico, so my degree is the last one with the specialization in lighting design. And I work for customized concept lighting for various themes. For example, in retail, we work a lot for brand, for luxury, different for Fendi, for Berluti, Moina, for Versace, a lot. Luxury brand is also interesting, of course. It's a completely different, because when I work with a luxury brand, I can work with the architecture, with not temporary exhibition, and so the goal is to find the best solution for a long time, and so we will do a research for a particular and customized lighting fixture. We work always with customized lighting fixture because our client requests a special fixture, so we think the best lighting for each brand, for each location, and for each architecture, and this is very technical. And but we work in the same time for private, for home, for living, for restaurant. And another part very important for me is the cultural heritage, because it's a long time that I work for temporary exhibition, for museum, and for different situations where the cultural heritage is very important. And the second point is important also for me because I have been working for a long time with different institutions like Politecnico of Milano, or UAV from Venezia, or IED from Firenze and Milano as a teacher, and I do this from a long time in the Master of Lighting Design, because the cultural heritage is very close to my path, and because I feel very good with this thematic. I have done about 60 exhibition, temporary exhibition, Caravaggio, Leonardo, Bacon, Manet, a lot, and different museums in Italy, in Milano, in Lucca, in Rome, so in different museums, and it's great for me to work with the art pieces, because I can discover every day when I work in the side work a particular situation, and this is very interesting for me to find new solution for each work. And the last thing is the collaboration that I have with the FAI, is Fondo Ambiente Italiano, is a no-profit foundation, and that's work for the preservation and enhancement of the Italian artistic and natural heritage. And it's a long time that I work with them, and I have done a lot of interesting work. It's a special, it's a particular thematics, and I love it. It's important, but in the same time, in Italian, it's very difficult because my profession is not so recognized. And sometimes when I explain, for example, to my friend what is my job, it's very, very difficult. And sometimes I ask to my friend this question: when you are in front of the art pieces, do you want to see reflection? Do you want to see shadows? Do you don't see the art pieces, or do you want to see, for example, the color, the materiality of the brush strokes? And of course, the answer is yes, I want to see. And I answer that you can see only with the correct lighting, because the lighting is very important, and sometimes lose this aspect, because sometimes the most important things is the interior design, but sometimes in Italy don't think about the lighting, and with only this question, I can explain to my friend my job, and I can use the light to explain very well the very important aspect of the light. On the same time, when I explain to the client, for example, the importance of the lighting project, I use this question. If your client is in front of the mirror in a shop and he don't see well, he don't see wonderful with your product, the client don't buy your product. So the lighting project is very important, not only for the aspect of the store, but also for the sale. Mm-hmm. So I think that is very important concept to explain that the lighting project is very, very important. In Italian, is not so recognized my profession and our idea of the lighting design. I think that there are very interesting possibilities with the new technology, but at the same time, I think that sometimes we are losing an important aspect, and I think that will be better to respect. For example, is the tradition, because I think that the tradition should not be forgotten and completely overcome. I explain better because when the LED arrive on the lighting fixture, it appears as a revolution. But now, after a long time, I think that there is still a lot of work to do, because we need to improve this technology, because sometimes some aspect is missing, and I think that the lighting technology, I think that is only a tool, and I want to use the technology as a tool to work with the lighting. And I want to have the possibility to use the technology to accomplish my idea. So I think that this is, for example, I think that the LED is a new technology, but now I think that the incandescent lamp is today always the best sources, and that the new LED don't arrive at the same lighting of the incandescent. So I think that the tradition should not be forgotten completely, because some people love the new technology completely and use always only the LED. Me use sometimes LED, sometimes traditional. Of course, I can try to find the best sources with the LED, but the incandescent lamp, for example, with the cultural heritage in a Casa Museum, is very important. And the incisivity of the halogen lamp, for example, when you use the light in a painting, the LED don't arrive at the intensity of the incandescent and the halogen lamp. Yeah. I would like the opportunity to continue my thesis because I have done a research for the Hippogeum archaeology, and the light for this particular architecture is very interesting, because there is a lot of microclimatic parameters and technical aspect that can do. I think that we can I would like to find a collection of lighting sources for this ambience, because if you use a wrong wave of light, you increase the green. I don't remember the name of the muffa.
You know when there is atmosphere, humidity.
So you mean like mold?
Mold, yes, yes, yes. And sometimes on the frescoes, with this wrong light, you increase the proliferation of the green. So I think that is very important. And if I have the possibility, I would like to continue my research, because when I was in the university, I have the opportunity to research with the CNR some tests with some particular wave of the light. But if it's possible, I would like to continue this research, because it's very particular, but I think it's very important, because in Italy we have a lot of archaeology with the frescoes, and sometimes we are losing the frescoes for the conservation, and we will preserve this important heritage. There's a lot, of course, of projects, because I have worked with Barbara Balestreri for a long time, for about 15 years, and we have done a lot of projects. But if you ask me one in particular, I think the wine cellar done from Maestro Arnaldo Pomodoro. It is an Italian sculptor, and the name of this particular wine cellar is Carapace, because this sculptor created this big architecture as a carapace, is a turtle, okay? And for me it's particular, because we have worked for this project for about 7 years, and it was a very strange project, because there was no drawing, and we will do each week in the side work to fix the fixture directly with the artist, with the sculptor. And we define each week the position of the fixture on this particular architecture. And each lighting fixture were customized. It's very particular, because each week we find a problem. And so directly on site we find the solution directly with all the team, because there was a lot of people that working on this, because was a sculpture, but in a big dimension. So it's the first time for this sculpture to create an architecture, and they test new material, new finishing, new interior design, and also for us was a very special project. Because it's strange. Now we do all with the CAD, with the drawing, with a very particular detail. Instead, in this case, we don't have drawing, and we do directly on the side work to cut the wood, to insert the lighting fixture, and so was. I can talk about a lot of projects, but I think from my personal point of view, the most difficult change in my career is the loss of Barbara, because she was to me very important, not only for professionality, but because we was a friend. It was a long time that we worked together, and now it's difficult to continue, because every day I discuss with her from the morning until the night about all of aspects of the profession, but not only. We was a family, and so it was very difficult in July, and till now sometimes it's difficult, because sometimes when there is some particular situation, I would like to talk with her, and sometimes I don't remember that she is not here, and sometimes I want to bring my phone, and I want to say, "Oh, Barbara, I have seen that one." and sometimes it's very difficult. So and I think that now this is the biggest challenge. I have the great fortune to have a wonderful family on the first time, because with my parents and my sister, since I was little, they always brought me to visit and discover cities, museums in Europe. And when I was very little, I have seen a lot of exhibition, and for that I decided to start a school of an Istituto d'Arte, an art institute. Inside, I discovered the descriptive geometry, the shadows theory, the golden section, and for me it was fantastic. So at the end of the school, thanks to my professor, I decided to start the Politecnico, because I want to become a lighting designer, because my professor explained to me the effect of the light on the color, and so I was fascinated about this thematic. And in the same time, when I was in the university, I have the opportunity to have a very talented professors, and they explained to me a lot of possibility with the light. And I love the School of Politecnico, because we was a very particular class, because for example in interior design the student were 200. In our class lighting design maximum 20 for 5 years. So it was fantastic, because, for example, in the last years, the teacher was 10 or 11, I don't remember, and we were 20 students, so it was perfect, because they follow us completely. My professor of the thesis was engineer Mario Bonomo. I don't know if you know, but he's a fantastic professor, very talented, and for me is important. But in that year I have read and I have studied a lot of books about the woman in the art and in the science that sometimes nobody know. For example, Marie Curie, Mileva Maric, Margaret Keane, a lot of women that in Italy the people don't know. Instead, I'm a fascinator, and so I'm read a lot of books to discover this important woman for the art and the science. But the most important designer for me is not a woman, but a man, is Achille Castiglioni, because when I followed his lesson, I was enchanted by his explanation. For example, when he explained to us the Gibigian lamp, I was, yes, enchanted, because it was fantastic. It's very simple, but I loved this lamp, because it's so technical, but very simple. And it's for this reason that when I try to understand this lamp, I have understand that it's important to open all the lighting fixture in order to understand in what way the lighting fixture is done. And I have learned this during the university. Of course, Barbara is the woman that it taught to me the profession, and today I think that she is the most important person about the lighting profession. But last but not least, my friend Ulku Naiboglu is a Turkish lighting designer, and we started a long time ago to collaborate, because she worked in the office of Barbara, and now she is my best friend, and it's very important for me, because we work in two separate offices, but we are very friends, and sometimes it's important to have a colleague friend, because we can talk about different situations, and is a very supportive friend for me. In Italian, I think that is fundamental to start from the school year, because we need to make a girl understand that they can do everything that they want as an adult. For example, I think that it's important to understand that, for example, mathematics, physics, chemistry are not subject for male, but are subject. And that is fundamental, because in Italy this is not clear. And in the school this is so hard. So I think that we can start from the school, and in the same time, in the school I think it's important to introduce the history of the women that have changed the world, because today does happen in Italy. And this is dramatic for me, because there are a lot of women that change the world in all the subjects, and some people don't know the names, don't know that there are now in the past, but also now there are a lot of women that work in different areas. And I think that is important to explain very clear that there is no gender profession. That for me is the best way to explain that in the profession we can do. Of course, some profession is a little bit difficult for the woman, for the physique. Okay. But sometimes when I'm in the side work, I go on the ladder without problem, and some men no. So we can adjust the idea of the profession, because we are the same as a man. We are as a man, so no gender profession. I think is the goal, the important things to explain. Don't forget to work with delight, not only follow with the technical aspect, but crafting new experience and new emotion, because sometimes this aspect is lost in the lighting project. And I think that is important for the woman in light, because we are more close to this aspect in some situation, and it's important to emphasize not only the technical aspect, but also this important part of our life.